You ever feel like no matter how hard you try, your money just doesn't grow the way it should? Like you put some cash in a savings account, maybe dabble in a stock here or there, and yet somehow at the end of the year, you're thinking, wait, where did it all go? Look, here's the thing. Most people believe growing money has to be complicated. They think you need thousands of dollars, insider info, or a crystal ball to beat the market. And honestly, that's exactly what keeps them stuck. But what if I told you there's a $100 trick? Yes, just $100 that could, in some cases, outperform what most people do with thousands. Sounds crazy, right? I thought the same when I first discovered this, but let me break it down. It all starts with a simple fact. The stock market isn't fair. Most people are set up to fail before they even begin. Studies show that over 90% of retail investors underperform the market over long periods. 90%. That's insane. Why? Because emotions rule the decisions. Fear and greed control what people buy and sell. And worse, most people don't even realize how often they're sabotaging themselves with tiny mistakes that add up. Missing opportunities, panic selling, chasing trends. You know the story. The stock goes up, everyone's buying, you feel FOMO, you buy, then it crashes, and you're left staring at your screen thinking, how did I lose again? So here's where the $100 trick comes in. First, let's talk about small numbers and compounding. Imagine you have $100 and you invest it in a smart way, not just blindly buying some trending stock. A lot of people hear compounding and immediately think, oh, too small, that won't matter. But here's a metaphor. Compounding is like planting a tiny seed that grows into a tree. You might laugh at the seed at first. It's just $100. But over time, it multiplies in ways most people never see coming. And the best part? You don't need a fortune to start. You just need to start. Now, most people assume beating the market means picking the next Tesla or crypto or some hot tip. That's a trap. In reality, beating the market is about behavior, timing, and structure, not luck. The $100 trick is simple. You focus on a disciplined, repeatable method that anyone can use, even if they've never invested before. For example, one approach is micro investing consistently in index funds or ETFs. Here's the shocker. You don't need thousands of dollars to see real results. Studies by Vanguard and other investment firms show that regular, small contributions, even $50 to $100 a month, can significantly outperform someone who tries to time the market with big bets. Weird, right? Most people think small money doesn't matter, but the math proves it does. And over decades, it adds up more than you'd imagine. And here's something that'll blow your mind. According to a study by Dalbar, the average investor earns less than half of what the S&P 500 earns over the same period. Why? Behavioral mistakes. People panic during drops, they chase fads during booms, and they constantly switch strategies. Meanwhile, the market itself doesn't care what you feel. It's just moving. That's why the $100 trick works. It doesn't rely on timing or emotions. It relies on consistency. Think of it like a metronome. Every month, same rhythm, same move. You can literally outperform 90% of people who are trying hard but emotionally all over the place. Here's where it gets even cooler. Some people call this the secret snowball strategy. You take your $100 or whatever small amount you can manage and you automate it. No thinking, no checking, no emotional swings. It goes into a diversified fund like an S&P 500 ETF. Over time, dividends are reinvested, compounding works its magic, and you're literally letting the market grow for you while others are busy buying the dip, selling the tip, or panicking every time a headline drops. The $100 might seem tiny at first, but with compounding over 20, 30 years, it's huge. And the best part, your biggest asset isn't just money, it's time. Here's a metaphor. Imagine two people trying to push a boulder up a hill. One has brute strength but gets tired quickly. The other pushes steadily, slowly, one step at a time. Guess who reaches the top? That's the difference between emotional investors and disciplined micro investors. That $100 is your foothold, your slow, steady push Now, you might be thinking, sure, but $100 isn't going to make me rich overnight. And that's exactly the point. Real wealth isn't about hitting it big in one shot. It's about sustained growth. It's about building habits that serve you over decades. If you start with $100 today and add $100 every month and reinvest the gains and resist the urge to panic sell, you could end up with more than most people who chase big wins and fail miserably. And look, I know discipline is hard. The world is designed to make spending easy and saving hard. Notifications, ads, social pressure, it's everywhere. But here's a psychological hack. Treat your $100 as untouchable. Automate it. Don't even think about it. If you can emotionally disconnect from it, it grows faster than you expect. Psychologists call this forced saving, and it works because it removes the friction of decision making. You don't argue with yourself about whether to invest today or not, so it just happens. Let me give you a real life example. There's a story of a guy who started investing $100 a month in an S&P 500 index fund when he was 25. He barely noticed it. By the time he was 55, his total contributions were around $36,000, but his account had grown to over $400,000. $400,000 from pennies, essentially, because of compounding and consistency. Meanwhile, his friend who tried to pick stocks and time the market barely had half that and was exhausted from stress and constant checking. That's the power of the $100 trick. So here's the action step for you. Pick a fund that's diversified and low cost, something like an S&P 500 ETF. Set up automatic monthly contributions of $100 or whatever you can comfortably afford. Ignore the noise, ignore the news. Don't panic. Don't try to beat the market every week. You're not trying to be a genius. You're trying to be consistent. And if you can stick with it for a decade, let alone 20 or 30 years, you will thank yourself every single day. And remember, it's not just about money. It's about mindset. Doing this teaches patience, restraint, and discipline, skills that will benefit every part of your life. Most people never build wealth because they never master themselves. They try to master the market instead. You're doing the opposite. You're mastering your behavior, which is far more powerful than any stock tip. So here's the bottom line. $100 isn't a small start. It's a huge opportunity. It's your seed, your foothold, your secret weapon against financial mediocrity. Most people overlook it, dismiss it, or think it's too little to matter. That's why they never get ahead. But if you start now, if you automate, and if you let compounding work quietly in the background while others panic and chase trends, you're already ahead of 90% of investors. Here's my final thought for you. Wealth is rarely about genius or luck. It's about taking smart, consistent action, starting small, and letting time do the heavy lifting. That $100 trick, it's simple, but it works because it's built on human psychology and math, not hype or guesswork. Start today. Plant your seed. And trust me, you'll look back in 10, 20, 30 years and realize that what seemed tiny at first was actually your biggest step toward freedom. So stop overthinking. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Pick your $100, set it up, automate, and watch time do its thing. Your future self will thank you.